It is very cold here this morning. I'm not in my shed quarters, I'm at the other workshop with the Brumberty, because today we're doing an exhaust. We're going to go from this to this. Now, because the whole plan for this is to put it on air ride and get it as low as possible, it means we've got very little clearance to get underneath this cross member. So I'm going to clamp this bar in here so that I know that the collector, this special little one that I made a few months back, I'll put up a thingy here for it. Well, that's got to fit in exactly that spot. So I'll clamp this bar in, then I can clamp this to the bar, and then we can start working out where the pipes go. Now it's going to have two long pipes come down here, across and in, and then two short pipes that'll just come down, do a loop and then in. And having unequal length headers is what gives it the Subaru rumble. Burble, rumble, whatever you call it. That annoying boxer noise. So, we're going to try to achieve that, and I've got lots of mandrel bends and elbows. I also have a 100 cell cat, because this is going to be registered, it has to have a cat. So that's going to be there somewhere. That's the plan for this. Let's get started. Alright, so I've got a bunch of bananas stuck in there. I've also got a little donut, and I think we're at the point where we're just going to start cutting tubes and fitting them together. Now, before I start welding on the vehicle, I've got to disconnect the battery, because you can send power surges through your computer and that's not good. So, time to cut. Good. We didn't film much of putting these together because it was very involved with trying to get them to fit. This is the hardest part of the exhaust, was getting this bit in. So I've got another elbow that I've cut up. They're just going to be two droppers that come down. We're going to put some bends in and straight into here. So this part should be easy, and then we'll just keep going through to the back. Alright, we've got all the primaries together into the collector and through, and the cat's hooked up as well. Now, each joint only has like 3 tacks on it, so it's going to have a lot of exhaust leaks, but we're going to fire it up and see what it sounds like. Give it a rev. Well, it's still quite loud because it's a straight out exhaust and it's got a lot of exhaust leaks, but I'm pretty happy with the sound it's making now. Alright, we'll probably pull this all off, take it back to the shed quarters and TIG everything back together. Alright, so we're back in the shed quarters and it is still very cold. It's like 4 degrees outside at the moment. Anyway, we'll see what happens, but V-band flange is going on the back of here. These are both stainless, so I'm going to use some 316 stainless filler wire for that. And the rest of it is just mild steel, so it's just going to get regular filler wire for the rest of it. So I'm going to start with tacking this on and then go from there, just weld everything. Just a couple more welds to go. Finish welding the insides of these pipes and then the outsides, and this section will be done. Now I've managed to get every one of these joins all the way around without pulling any of it apart, so I'm hopeful that it will all just bolt back on. These flanges might need to be put on a sander, but we'll see what happens. Zap. Alright, so we're back in the workshop again. Now, I took this home and fully TIG welded everything. I just rushed through it to get it done, so they're not the nicest welds. Now, I've still got to get the die grinder and clean out the insides of these ports, and these need to be checked to make sure they're flat still. So, what I've done over this side is I've hit it with the sander. So, I've just gone over it with the hand sander in many different directions. And this side, it all polished up perfectly, so as you can see, it's all shiny. There's no dark spots anywhere around there, so that is flat enough. So still got to do this one, and then we can bolt this up. Alright, that looks pretty good. I'm happy enough with that. Now, if it had actually flexed or warped, then I would have had to put it on a belt sander to sand the whole thing. But because it's only 2 ports instead of being 4 or 6, it's less likely to actually bend. So, before we actually put this exhaust back on though, we're going to put the original Liberty pipes on and see what they sound like, and then compare them to this new one. Alright, so what I've got here is the factory exhaust that was on this engine. Now these are just 2 pipes come down into a 2-inch pipe on each side. They're equal length into a little collector and then into a 2-inch pipe that goes back through the catalytic converter. Let's see what this sounds like, and then we'll put the new exhaust on there and see the difference. Fire it up. That's a factory 2-inch dumping at the back of the catalytic converter. So, doesn't sound half bad, but we'll put the new pipe on and see what that sounds like. We've got the new exhaust in, and it's actually went straight in, so it hasn't actually moved too much in the welding. We still haven't got the O2 sensor plugged in because, well, we haven't. I'll tuck that out of the way. And yeah, let's fire this up and see what it sounds like. That sounds really good. I mean, you can actually feel the sound. On the camera it's not going to sound overly different, but it's a lot bassier now than what it was before. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now we've just got to build the center section, the little hot dog muffler in the middle, but I've got the big muffler in the rear and twin pipes out the back. So it's just a single all the way through, but then just under the back after the rear muffler it splits off into two and one out each side. That's the whole exhaust system all welded up. Now you may be wondering why I've just MIG'd everything here, but I took the headers home and did them all with the TIG. Well, that's because everything from the cat back is probably going to be rebuilt again before this project's finished, because, well, to get this thing airbagged and laying on the ground, we're going to have to chop out the center tunnel. We're going to have to rebuild the whole IRS system to raise the diff up, and once all that's done there'll be more room for the exhaust to be tucked up higher, and we'll do a nicer job of it next time. I've got an assistant here. Now, this is Nick. Now, he's been helping with cameras and he's helping lift things now. All right, everything's in place, so we will lower this down and maybe take it for a lap around the yard, see what it sounds like. So that works. Sounds pretty good, I think. I'm pretty happy with that. Both pipes seem to be flowing fairly evenly. That's all because of the way that I've got the two elbows stuck together for the wire pipe. It should be fairly even. Now, there's a lot more on the to-do list for this thing, so I'm going to go plan that out. But that's it for this video. So as always, customize everything. Alrighty, Brumberty. Exhaust is done. ECC's been cancelled this year. Unfortunately, that's a bit closer. Yep. Alright. Come on, Shed Corgi. Let's blow.